Welcome back to the Explainer for the Foundry by Forge College. Today, we're basically grabbing our metaphorical tool belts and doing a complete structural makeover on a smart contract. We're taking all those concepts from our previous theoretical lesson and moving right into the actual, hands-on implementation of the CEI pattern. So let's just dive right into it. Picture this for a second. Imagine you walk into a bank, ask the teller for $1 million, and they just happily hand you a giant stack of cash, and only then decide to check if you even have an account. I mean, that sounds completely absurd, right? Well, that is exactly the danger of writing vulnerable smart contracts where your effects, like, updating a user's balance, happen after your external interactions, like actually sending them the funds. If you don't check and update that internal ledger first, a malicious user can just keep asking for that cash over and over again. Here is our agenda for today's explainer. First, the vulnerable blueprint. Second, the step-by-step refactor. Third, adding a fail-safe guard. Fourth, the makeover comparison. And fifth, our verification checklist. All right, Section 1, the vulnerable blueprint. Time to inspect the mess. So before we get into the actual code, let's briefly recap the core problem we talked about last time, reentrancy exploitation. This happens when a stale state is read by an untrusted external call, simply because the effects step is dangerously delayed. Think of it like building this massive, totally impenetrable bank vault, but then literally leaving a flimsy screen door at the entrance. If you delay updating a user's balance until after you send them the money, their malicious contract can just loop right back in, see that their balance hasn't dropped yet, and completely drain your funds. Look at the exact load-bearing failure right here. We've got our external interaction, transferring the funds, happening way before the state update, where we actually deduct the balance. It completely lacks any guard, and the balance update is just sitting there, dangerously delayed. This is exactly where the structural integrity of the whole contract falls apart. Moving into Section 2, the step-by-step refactor, where we apply those strict CEI rules. Okay, here is how we fix it using 3 procedural steps. First up, checks. We absolutely must validate the caller's balance to make sure they actually have the funds. Second, effects. We update the state immediately. We deduct their balance before they ever get their hands on the money. And third, interactions. We finally perform the external transfer. By updating the state before making any external calls, we brilliantly prevent reentrant loops from ever seeing an old stale balance. If they try to loop back in, boom, their balance is already zeroed out. Let's actually look at the code for this. Notice how we've pulled the balance deduction right up to the top. We do our check with a require statement, and then immediately, like the very next line, we decrement the balance. Now, the physical funds haven't moved yet, but our internal ledger, it is completely up to date. And now, for step 3, the interaction. Only now do we safely trigger that external call to send the funds. And honestly, it's super important to note that we handle its Boolean return safely too. Because if the transfer fails for literally any reason, our require statement is going to catch it and safely revert the entire atomic call. No harm done. Section 3. Adding a fail-safe guard. Time for some defense in depth. So a fail-safe guard is exactly what it sounds like. It's a mechanism, like a reentrancy lack or an item potency flag, that guarantees a function absolutely cannot be reentered while it's already running. Conceptually, just think of it as adding a massive industrial deadbolt to the door of our newly built vault. Even if someone, somehow, finds a clever way to bypass our primary structural ordering, this heavy deadbolt is going to stop them right in their tracks. And here's what that heavy deadbolt looks like in Solidity. It's just a really simple, low-overhead non-reentrant modifier. We check that a Boolean flag called locked is false, we immediately set it to true, we execute the rest of the function, and then we unlock it by setting it back to false at the very end. We're essentially just bolting this directly onto our function so that any nested reentry will instantly hit that require statement and fail. Section 4. The makeover comparison. Old versus new. So comparing things side by side, we basically just change the order from checks, interaction, effects over to checks, effects, interaction. And we went from having 0 reentrancy guards to using a simple lock. Honestly, what's incredible here is just how minimal the actual changes are. We completely fortified the execution ordering without changing the public API or the external behavior of the contract at all. And this right here is the real game changer. This behavioral shift. In the old version, an external call saw the old balance, which just left the door wide open for exploitation. But in our new, refactored version, the external call sees the updated balance. The attacker literally cannot exploit a stale state anymore because the state updates first. It's such a beautifully simple, elegant fix, don't you think?
All right, Section 5, Verification Checklist. Let's make sure we know how to confirm success.
Whenever you're reviewing your own code refactors, this is the visual inspection checklist you should be running through. 1. Verify your input and permission checks are sitting right at the very top. 2. Ensure all state updates, your effects, happen before any external calls, period. 3. Make sure a failsafe guard, like our reentrancy lock, is active. And 4. Just run a quick local compile test to confirm you don't have any syntax or visibility errors. If you check these 4 boxes, your structural foundation is absolutely rock solid. I really want to leave you with this golden rule today. Always update state so that subsequent external interactions cannot observe stale values. You should literally burn this into your memory. It is the ultimate takeaway from our makeover today. If you remember just this one sentence, you are going to avoid one of the most notorious vulnerabilities in all of Web3. And that wraps up our structural makeover. Next up on the track, we'll be tackling applying principle of least privilege. I highly encourage you to go open up your own code base right now and just practice a minimal CEI refactor on it. It helps so much. To dive deeper, make sure to visit forge.college to learn more about this and plenty of other Web3 topics. But before you close this out, ask yourself, what other hidden vulnerabilities might be lurking in the order of your smart contracts operations? Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.